coach, Dr. Nick Lazaris has specialized for 38 years in helping entrepreneurs, performing artists, and creatives achieve a life and career that they never imagined possible. By helping them dramatically increase their self-confidence and overcome their stage fright, his clients have developed the ability to consistently perform at or near their personal best regardless of the circumstances. In addition to coaching and speaking, he has authored 4 books, including From Panic to Peace, The Fearless Business Speaker, The Assertive Communicator, and Stress, Resiliency, and Taking Charge of Your Life. You can learn more about Dr. Nick at fearlessbusinessspeaking.com and receive a free copy of his 5-step anxiety roadmap, Overcome Stage Fright Forever. Yes, forever sounds wonderful. So yes, today, can we invite you to just give whatever you can to offer your wisdom about fear and anxiety?
All right. Well, thank you, Doreen. As you mentioned, I work primarily with performers and performance anxiety. That could be everything from a stage fright of fear of public speaking. It could be a violinist that's going to be in a juried competition and the anxiety is escalating the closer it gets to that. It could be a fear of an interview, could be asking someone on a date. I mean, these are all examples of performance and performing situations and performing anxiety. So a strategy, and like you, Doreen, we both use a number of strategies in working with our clients that we coach and we work with. But one of the most powerful strategies that I use with performers was something I learned from Dr. Don Green 25 years ago, who's another performance psychologist. And it's a strategy called mental rehearsal. And its goal, if you look at it in terms of the performer, is to create a positive mindset, but while quieting that inner negative critical voice that creates the anxiety. And it's that negative critical voice that kind of leads to this picture that many of us have when we're anticipating performing or presenting in front of an audience. It could be in front of a webinar, it could be a Facebook Live. There's a number of performance kind of situations that can create a negative picture in our thinking that then creates the what ifs, and that sends that message to the body that says something's dangerous coming up, and then the body goes, oh no, and it breathes fast and it gets tight, and then it sends the message back up to the brain that says something, this is not good, this is dangerous. So that escalation is what we're trying to slow down. And that strategy of mental rehearsal has to do with the principle that if you cannot imagine, if you cannot see in your mind's eye doing a great job, then the odds are less and less that you're going to do a great presentation without anxiety. And the reality is we all have mental rehearsal. We do this all the time. The problem when it comes to performing is that we have a negative picture in our mind, a negative mental rehearsal that we kind of keep conditioning over and over until it's time to present, it's time to perform. And that picture of us blowing it or freezing on stage or forgetting what we were going to talk about, all the different kind of symptoms, we'll call it, of anxiety, start to increase because we're picturing it not going well. And the ironic thing with creatives, I work a lot with writers and singers and musicians. The ironic thing with creatives and performers is that they tend, and this is true with anxiety in general, we tend to find that there's highly intelligent, highly creative, and highly sensitive. And we would think, well, that's great. Those are great characteristics to have. Yeah. But if you think about it, if I'm going to give a presentation, I'm afraid of how I'm going to look and I'm picturing it not going well, that highly creative, highly intelligent part of me goes to town. And it starts to think of every scenario that could go wrong, especially when I'm going to be under pressure. So mental rehearsal kind of allows us to kind of actually practice an exercise that slows this down, that causes us to kind of quiet the mind, that left side of the brain that has that fast brain thinking, and switch it to the right side of the brain, which is that more present in the moment, anxiety kind of free ability to present ourselves. So that's really our goal with mental rehearsal. So there are 5 steps. You want me to kind of go through those?
Please. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Because the way I look at anxiety in many ways, when especially when it has to do with presenting ourselves or performing. It's kind conditioned over the years. And so we have this picture, and we have to practice. My coaching clients get sick of this, I'm sure. They haven't said it, but I'm telling them how important it is to practice these principles prior to presenting yourself, so that when that day comes and you're going to give a presentation, you're able to just be in that zone, you're able to focus and be quiet in your thinking. So find a place a couple times a week at least, spend 10 minutes going through these 5 steps, and do that until you start to have a positive mental picture. So the first step when we're doing mental rehearsal is what I call create a clear intention. Create a clear intention. Ask yourself, as a result of practicing, as a result of going through this exercise during the week prior to my presentation, what do I want to come out of that? So for example, if I intend as a result of practicing mental rehearsal to be able to, when the time comes, be able to picture myself being in full control, being in charge of myself when I'm presenting myself. So first start out, what is the point? What do I want to come out of the practice? What is my intention? Second thing, once you've got that clear, I really want as a result of this to come out strong and in charge and without anxiety. The next thing is take a slow, deep, focused breath. You know, Doreen, as much as I do, the power of breathing. And everybody says, oh yeah, you're supposed to breathe. But the reality, it's very powerful if you practice it. And so before you do your mental rehearsal, you take 1 or 2 slow, deep, focused breaths. You fill up your lower lungs all the way, hold it, and let it out. So what you're doing, whoops, got an interruption here. What you're doing is, there we go. I'm sorry. I've lost something here. I will find it.
I haven't lost you.
A phone call came in and shut everything down. You want to take that slow, deep breath, because we want to center ourselves physically, center ourselves mentally, really be as solid as we can during the mental rehearsal, during the visualization. Third, picture in your mind what your intention will actually look like. The more clear you can be as you're practicing. Remember, we're talking not about when you're actually performing, but during the week when you're practicing mental rehearsal. What would your intention actually look like? Try to see, feel, and hear yourself giving a great presentation. Picture in your mind as clearly as possible. The more clear you can be, the better you're going to be able to use this exercise. And I often suggest breaking this up into small segments. So for example, if I'm giving an actual presentation at a venue, I will picture in my mental rehearsal driving to the event, because sometimes your anxiety is going to begin there. Sometimes it's going to begin as you walk into the building. In reality, the anxiety probably starts when they first ask you to speak. So we want to break that up and say, okay, I'm going to picture myself driving to the venue, or I'm going to picture myself walking into the room and I see the lectern, or I'm going to walk up to my laptop and do a webinar and I can picture myself doing well with that. Break that up as much as you can. This becomes important later as we kind of talk about being able to back up if we need to. So picture in your mind what it's actually going to look like. The more clear you can be, the more powerful this will become. Fourth, attempt to use all your senses. Use all your senses. Picture yourself being confident. Picture the audience being on your side. That's a little tougher when you're online and you can't see them, but have a picture of that. They're listening to your webinar, they're listening to your presentation, the jury's out there watching you play the violin, and picture them that they're on your side, that they want you to be successful. Hear the words coming out of your mouth strong and powerful. Listen to the words afterwards in your picture in your mind of people saying, great job, that was so helpful. It's important to use as many senses as you can to make it as real as you can, so we can begin to overcome that negative mental rehearsal that we've had for years. And then finally, fifth, allow yourself to correct your mistakes. And what that means is, as you're doing your mental rehearsal, you're going to get anxious. There's going to be a point where you're going to go, whew, you're going to find yourself holding your breath and saying, okay, they're going to introduce me, or okay, I've got to get up on that stage. And then if you start to feel the anxiety, stop, just like a VHS tape, stop the tape, rewind, go back to the last place in your rehearsal that you were feeling more confident, then start over. Do some breathing, walk yourself back through it again. And the goal is to do this over and over until the day comes where you have your actual presentation and you've practiced this so many times, you're so in charge of yourself that you're able to see in your mind's eye doing well, which then will begin to translate in more and more anxiety-free speaking, or presenting. So those are the 5 steps.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The whole idea about breathing, a lot of times people just say breathe, but what you said that makes it a different, I think, a different process is focused breathing.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
And that to me feels like if people have more of a way of breathing that has intention and focus to it, as opposed to just take a deep breath.
yes, yes. I will tell my clients to picture a balloon in their stomach and
Mhm.
take a slow, deep breath through the nose, fill up the balloon as much as you can, hold it, and then let the air out and deflate the balloon. Now, there's no balloon in your stomach, but the reality is we're trying to push the air into your lower lungs. So just like you said, Doreen, this becomes very intentional. It's not just breathing, it's breathing with a focus, with a purpose. And it becomes so powerful. I can't tell you how clients just immediately they begin to get relief, but you have to practice it because you know, you've been doing the old breathing your whole life,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And listening to your body when it starts to give you those cues. That's the best thing. Our body will let us know when the anxiety is escalating. We're able to say, oh, well, there it is. That's that feeling. Slow down. Get present again. So all of this has to do with getting more present, living in the moment, not living in the future, in the land of the what ifs, and being able to say, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do a great job.
Yes. Well, thank you. I think that mostly what I'm getting is the power of our minds today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we really can alter our state of being, and there is a way, and you shared it today. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Well, this has been fun.
Fun for me too. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Bye bye.